So here we're going to see the Sphere Shield governance for Webex Teams. We're in the Sphere Shield portal at the moment, and you can see we're in the governance section. The first thing we're going to want to do is enable Webex governance. So let's click yes over here, and you can see that there are many different types of policies which are configurable. The first thing that you can choose is how to address governance violations. Do you want to block the action or do you want to monitor? Blocking the action would mean, for example, if somebody creates a space against the policy, then the space would be deleted, whereas monitor would just monitor the action and the action would be audited, but the space wouldn't actually be deleted. So that's the first thing you can do. Let's go to the next section. We've got space moderation, and we've got several policies here which deal with moderating spaces. So first of all, you can assign an Active Directory group as moderators, meaning that anytime you have a space that has a member from a certain Active Directory group, they will always be a moderator on that space. You then have the option to allow additional groups to moderate or not. So sometimes you may only want this first Active Directory group to moderate spaces if they're part of spaces, without giving the option to other groups to be able to moderate. Sometimes you may also want other groups to be able to moderate. The third thing that you can configure over here is the group that requires a global moderator. What's a global moderator? So this global moderator gives the organization a hand in every space. In the event that the moderator of the space leaves the organization or leaves the space, you don't want to be left with an unmanaged space, a space which is out of the control of the organization. So we add a global moderator, and it's simply a user that the organization's admins can use in order to then access that space and deal with the space after the moderator has left the organization. And you can input here the space moderator's email. Then we've got some policies with regards to Webex governance. So we've got groups who are allowed to create spaces, groups who are allowed to create teams, groups allowed to add users to spaces, and groups who are allowed to add users to Webex Teams. All these groups here are Active Directory groups, so you can really control who's allowed to create spaces, who's allowed to create teams and add users, etc. Again, to be able to give the organization a control over what's going on in the Webex environment. Finally, there is the option to enable the retention policy engine, which we'll see more shortly. Then there's space management, so the space notification block message. There is an option to block spaces. We'll see this in space management, what it means to block a space. But briefly, blocking a space is like archiving. The space is blocked, and all further communication is not possible. And the question is, what would the user experience be when a space is blocked? What would the message be in that space? So here you can input your own message. You can configure it here. We've configured this space was blocked due to company policy. No new content or new members are allowed. Please contact support for further help. Finally, in the governance policies, we have naming policies. This enables organizations to create policies to address the naming conventions of their spaces. You can add prefixes or suffixes to space names. A prefix or a suffix can be either a free text or an attribute. If it's an attribute, it can be either a department or a country. So here we've configured it to be a department. That means every space which is created by, let's say, the finance department will have a prefix. It will say finance and then the space name. Again, you can have it as a country, so maybe every space which was created by somebody from France will have France and then the space name. Similarly, you can do this for suffix. Again, you can do it based on text or attributes.